I've gotten to do something new at work lately.
Ooh, that's always fun.
Yeah, they let me put Unreal on my computer, Unreal Ed on my computer, and I'm working on a game mode for the Anacrusis.
What do you mean they let you? I thought anybody can just download that. That's your computer, right? Anybody can just download that thing and install it.
Well, yeah, but okay. So when I was at Foo, we had a problem where I made a submission because I used to get in Unity and do a little hacking and stuff there. Just know enough to be dangerous. And let's say I caused a Git problem that made us lose a couple of days or maybe more work, which felt real bad.
Oh,
yeah.
Could you illuminate what the problem was that you caused?
I submitted some shit that corrupted a whole big mess of stuff. And then when I reverted the whole thing instead of just my parts. And look, mistakes were made. Let's just say that.
Okay.
I think the problem was I took over some checkouts that other people had, and then they weren't able to submit their work. Anyway, it doesn't matter. There was a sequence of events that ended up with somebody losing a couple of days of work, and I felt really bad. And I was like, I'm going to stay out of source control at this point because my people should not be here. I'm a generalist.
There's a reason that multiple websites exist to make Git easier to deal with.
Yeah. So anyway, I was like, hey, I have an idea for a thing. And people were like, that sounds like a cool idea for a new kind of holdout map in the Anacrusis. Because right now, our holdout maps are very much like Left 4 Dead holdout maps, where you have like a central area that you kind of defend, and then maybe you have to go capture some points or something on the edges of that area to force you to move around a little bit. But you don't traverse a map per se. You're basically staying in one combat arena. And I was like, what if instead of doing that, you had to traverse a map while you're capturing these points, and then at the end something exciting happens? They were like, that's a good idea. You should build that. And I was like, oh, well, I shouldn't do that. That's a bad idea. And then they were like, no, just go download. Here's the wiki page that tells you how to download the repo and set up Unreal, our version of Unreal Ed, and let her rip. Have fun.
You give a game designer a fish, he'll design for a day. Teach a game designer to fish, he'll design for a lifetime.
Well, and also at the same time, we're doing more. We have a lot of people building mods right now, and our documentation needs help. And like, I don't understand enough about how Unreal works to help with the documentation. So it's like two birds with one stone. Yeah. I get to do something fun, and then now I can help with the documentation. That's cool as well.
Are you writing any code or script in this process, or is it all like visual? Like, I don't know exactly. I mean, I know the Unreal Engine tools are quite robust, but I don't know if it's all like visual scripting for stuff like this at this point, or like, how are you interfacing with all this?
The answer is it's complicated. The version of so we're on Unreal 4.27. We haven't moved Anacrusis to 5.1 or whatever. I don't. That may or may not happen at some point in the future. There's like multiple tiers of code, and some of this stuff is specific to our game, and some of it's engine specific. Like in the engine, there's the idea that you can write code in like chunks of code, like functions, just like in C++, right? But then there's also these things called blueprints, which can kind of serve as API interfaces between a more visual scripting language and or between chunks of code. So you can like pass variables from one piece of code to another, and like you can make things do things. But somebody has to have written the underlying code for those things to happen. So that visual thing is called blueprints. And basically like the rules of our game all run in a big blueprint that says, okay, the game starts with 4 players on these types of spawn points. And then they have to go from here to there, and the game ends on that spawn point. And along the way, these series of functions will be running in the background. And the blueprints can be a mixture of things that are other blueprints, or C++ code, or maybe some other stuff that I don't know about because I haven't gotten too far. I mostly work in blueprints right now, just because. And honestly, I mostly work one layer up above the blueprints in like a map logic layer, which is a thing that one of our designers kind of built like in the style of modern Quake engine or id Tech engine map scripting stuff. So like the stuff that I'm working on is actually map entities that have triggers attached to them, and those triggers are pulled from blueprints And the blueprints then run C++ code if they need it, because there's API endpoints that let the blueprints connect to the C++ code. But also, this is a really mature project. This is a thing that we've been working on for 3 years now, and like two dozen people have touched it. 3 dozen people have touched it probably over that 3-year period almost. And there's a lot of like kind of, oh yeah, no, this is the way it works here, but this isn't stuff that's in every game, and probably not the way we would design it if we were starting from scratch today. But like, so the upshot is for the map logic. So an example of a thing I can do with map logic is I have a series of triggers, and one of the triggers starts the holdout, right? When somebody presses a button, it starts the hold. One of the triggers changes the level context from, hey, this is a campaign level to this is a holdout level, or this is holdout level to a campaign level by just destroying a bunch of campaign entities. So like switches that you only use in campaign mode, stuff like that. The next one starts the holdout part of the thing, which includes spawning enemies and setting up the capture points and all that stuff. And there's some like randomization triggers in there that make it a little bit different every time and stuff like that. So like you can do a ton without touching any code is the takeaway. And if you can get into the blueprints, then you can do a lot more. Including like change the way the mode works entirely and stuff like that. So yeah, it's been weird and fun.
Just make sure you don't pull out any load bearing entities.
I am I was asked very nicely not to submit any changes to blueprints that are referenced across the entire project, because that's the problem. Like that's like the matter compiler, the thing that gives out perks, is used in every level of the game. So if I make a change to that, there are some big downstream consequences. Now I can make an instance of that and do whatever I want to it in my instance that lives in my level, but yes. I shouldn't. I don't touch the parent classes. Always
play in the sandbox.
Love this. Look, they saw what I was doing. Because initially they were like, hey, you can just edit it on a layer in the level. Because there's also there's level layers in Unreal. So like in each level of the map, there's a lighting level, and there's a geo level, and there's a gameplay level, and there's a sound level, and there's a voice level, and all this stuff. And they were like, we'll just make you a holdout level, and you could just edit in there and just tag stuff appropriately. And then they saw what I did the first day, and they were like, we're going to make you a copy of the level, and we're going to revert and copy your stuff over to the new copy of the level, and then we're going to revert your changes to the main level. And it's like, that's probably best.
They didn't pat your head while they did that, did they?
No, they were very nice about it. But I did break the event that happens at the end of the level, not in a permanent way, but like in a way that I would have had to go back and do a little bit. Anyway, but the upshot is now I can change the geo of the level, and that's really fun because I'm like changing where paths are and stuff like that. So yeah, it's been neat. It's been neat to learn. It's like this week it's that sweet spot for new learning where you're like, hey, on day one, I don't even know what the thing is that I need, the name of the thing. I don't even know the name of the thing that I need to know so I can search for a thing to figure out what I should be doing. And now I feel pretty like dangerously proficient is what I would say at this point.
Hey, when you go from not knowing when you don't know what you don't know, and you end up at least you know what you don't know.
Yeah,
that's progress.
I'm right in the Dunning-Kruger sweet spot right now, man. Welcome to Brad and Will Made a Tech Pod. I'm Will.
I'm Brad.
That was really fast. I'm Brad.
Was it? I've been working on it.
Yeah, you've been workshopping it? You like do this in the shower?
Well, when I edit it every week, there's always a pause there that I frequently cut out because sometimes, I don't know, like maybe it's just a latency thing. It's never as snappy as I think it is when I say it.
It felt pretty snappy today. It's like it's like you used the Force to anticipate the welcome.
Well, fingers crossed there's no silence there to cut out.
Yeah, exactly. Brad, this week we have I was trying to get a pun, but I got nothing. I was going to say novel, but it's not a book. It's the topic this week is right in front of us. It's
right.
Yeah,
it's hands on. I've got my hands on it right now.
Yeah, we were sitting here and we were like, what's the oldest thing? I think this is probably also an episode, but like, what's the oldest piece of technology you use on the day-to-day? Don't answer that. That's for later.
Okay.
That's a future question. But in doing that, I was sitting here looking around my desk and I was like, wait, I have a bunch of interesting stuff on my desk and I'm about to go through and rewire everything after about a year. Mm-hmm. And I want to talk about what is on our desks.
Yeah.
And what is working and what isn't in terms of like the wiring.
Yeah, actually, in my case, I'm excited to talk about what's not on my desk, which is cords.
That sounds nice.
I just very recently, like a month ago, reached cord 0, like not a single wire running across my desk. So that is part of the impetus for this.
Well, I don't have that kind of discipline. I don't think my desk is a chaos engine and I'm okay with that. I don't need to live your minimalist lifestyle to feel fulfilled.
It's so good.
But I do enjoy having my desk wire situation solved and like going through and evaluating this. There's some stuff that works really, really well. Like I love the reusable zip ties, switching from Velcro ties or single use zip ties to the reusable ones with a little push button has been. Yeah. Have you never?
Oh my God.
Yeah. So
oh my God.
The clicky bar has a little push down.
No.
And then when you need to get a cable out, you just push the thing down, unzip the zip tie a little bit. And then,
I bought like 300 of the classic zip ties from Monoprice a few years ago, and I've still got like 250 left. So it's going to be a while before I get to the.
Donate them to needy children, Brad.
Yes, you're right.
It's fine. Yeah,
Wow.
It's a life-changing thing. 5
minutes into this episode, and I've already learned something actionable. I mean, I've got a decent number of the Velcro zip ties, which are also reusable, but
they get so the problem with the Velcro ones for me is that they collect dust.
Sure.
Over a period of time in a way that is icky.
Sure.
So I'm not a huge fan of those. And also they don't have the strength that I need for the size, scope and scale of cables I have.
Fair.
Anyway, I thought what we should do. See, you're in a pretty, you're happy with your situation now.
Well, let's say, within my means, I'm living within my means. Let's say.
Okay.
I with the space that I've got and the desk that I've got and et cetera, I've kind of hammered it into a shape I can live with.
Yeah.
If I had a bigger space and got a new desk, though, I would definitely make some changes. But anyway.
Well, so yeah, and I have a sit stand that I go up and down on pretty much every day.
Like physically, you mean not in terms of your opinion?
No. Yeah, I love the desk. I literally sit here, and when I get tired of sitting, then I stand up, and my back is better for it, and generally healthier.
Okay, that could have been interpreted as you like it sometimes, and not so much others.
No, I absolutely love it. It's my favorite. So like but it presents a unique challenge in terms of the stuff that's coming from the top has to go to the bottom somehow, and
that's always. I mean, granted, I'm like an obsessive cable router. That's actually, you know what? I have 0 cords touching the top of the desk or the floor underneath. But because of that, that's been always the thing that worried me the most about a standing desk or a sit stand in particular. If it was just a standing desk, it would not be a problem. But having to accommodate for 2 heights while wanting to mount and like route every cable.
Yeah.
There's a lot of like cable slack issues that you'd have to worry about there.
The solution I have for that works, but it is not I don't love it. So
should I ask now or should we get to it in line?
Well, why don't let's do yours first. Cause I think yours is like you like I like my reusable zip ties, but I think yours is the success story here.
Really? That's
your desk is really like my desk is, I'm going to go and tell you, if you looked at my desk, it would give you hives, right? And you're going to ask me to take a picture of it, and I'm going to be real and tell you that what I'm going to do when you ask me to do that is I'm going to spend about an hour cleaning it off and leave it a little bit messy still.
You have to capture it in the moment.
No, I'm not. Look, there's a Lumia 910 on my desk. I've made choices with my life that I'm not happy with.
Everything. I need a photo in situ of what you got going on. You showed me that 920 right before this, and I got kind of excited. It's not the yellow one. It's not the canonical Lumia 920, but still.
The blue one's the good one.
You think so?
Yeah, the yellow. I don't like I like a darker. Anyway,
I don't remember which of my many Discords it came up on recently that somebody was posting photos of their Lumia 920, and now you've got yours out, and it reminded me, man, I wish I had gotten a Lumia 920 back in the day.
I couldn't get it to charge, which kind of bums me out because I think it's probably completely unopenable.
Man, that's a bummer. Have I said this before? I'm pretty sure I've mentioned this before. My Windows phone and my one Android phone both are on their last attempt to put the security code in before they lock themselves out forever.
How did you, do you not, I always use the same security code.
Well, let's see. So on the Android, I was using the pattern-based one, the shape, not the number.
That's a disaster.
And I don't really, I mean, the Windows Phone was so long, it was like 10 years ago. I was definitely using a different code at that point.
I just wanted to play Hexic.
I mean, I can't blame you for that. I mean, there's nothing like truly irreplaceable on there. I would like, I wouldn't mind seeing what photos are on there and stuff like that. But I mean, it's not going to kill me if I never get it back.
I wonder if you could just break the encryption on them at this point.
I don't know about that.
I have a 4090. Give me the image. I can just let it rip.
I did crack a password protected zip a couple of years ago that I've had for like 20 years. Anyway.
So yeah, Brad, what's on your desk?
Okay. So should we just take inventory here?
Yeah, let's take stock of the situation first.
Okay. Yeah, there's like a million different angles to go from with this, because like I've been looking at mechanical keyboards a little bit again lately, so we could talk briefly about that.
Well, yeah,
but
I mean,
as we go down the line.
Kind of the impetus for this episode is I saw a lot of talk in the Discord this week and also on Mastodon. People were posting, there's a couple of really good videos that came out this week about how people have managed zero cable or cable light clean desks with but most of them are people using a MacBook Pro as their main computer, and like they put it into a docking station and then it hooks up to one or two monitors, and it's really like, I don't want to say it, but it's kind of easy mode.
Huh. Okay.
Like you want to impress me, get like 3 or 4 monitors, a couple of desktops, some lights, 3 cameras, the whole thing.
I prefer a non-judgmental discussion of desk organization techniques, but
I'm not. I was like, okay, it's cool that you made custom right angle XLR mounts for your speakers. That is actually really neat, but also, yeah, your problems are the magnitude of your challenge is low compared to a gamer desktop. Anyway,
fair.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I will say, when we did the PSVR 2 streaming 2-3 weeks ago, when you occasionally you will see what that headset sees, right? From when it dropped to that inside out view, people were seeing what I see when I sit at this desk, although, it was a black and white kind of weird digitalized version a little bit.
Wait, it doesn't, the PlayStation doesn't stop you from exporting that?
Oh, no, it just shows it in the, what do they call it? Like everything, they have a name for it. It's like the companion view or whatever that goes to the TV.
Wow, that's a trip, because
it outputs it to the TV. Like
when I was playing God of War the other day, they HTCP or don't stream out the like the Sony logo that pops up before the game starts. The video there just doesn't play on the Chiaki stream. Yep. Anyway.
But the view of your room, they are happy to let anybody.
Thanks, Sony.
Anyway, everybody on the stream got to see what I see from my desk, and the first comments I saw were just like, wow, that's a clean desk. And I felt very good.
Yeah. I mean, look, I'm going to go and tell you, I've seen your desk. I've stopped by your house unexpectedly before. Your desk has always been shockingly clean.
It takes some effort. You're not wrong when you say that it's some work.
Mine lasted about a month when I did that last time.
Actually, like we talked about last week, like when I'm in one of these like PC fixing explosions, my desk was a mess, like a huge mess. There were like 30 different things all over it at that point, but that's not the preferred state of affairs. Yeah. Okay, let's get started here.
Yeah, let's get into it.
Okay, so like I said, I as of buying this wireless mouse a few weeks ago, which has vastly exceeded my expectations. Yeah. That was the last holdout of cords on my desk. So I'm using an Apple Magic aluminum Bluetooth keyboard with Windows.
Best keyboard ever made, is my understanding.
It's very quiet.
Yeah, it is very quiet.
I've been thinking about it. I've been again looking at wireless mechanicals, thinking like, yeah, maybe I should. But when you're on an open mic as much as I am, having this extremely quiet keyboard is pretty nice. Cannot recommend using this keyboard with Windows, even though I do it. It's not especially compatible, I guess I'm saying.
Well,
it works.
You don't get a lot of like, the bells and whistles aren't there, right?
If by bells and whistles you mean a battery readout, then yes.
How long does the battery last, though?
Like a month.
And it's like a AA, right?
No, it's rechargeable.
You have the rechargeable one?
Yes, this keyboard has a lightning port on it.
Ew. Does it? You plug it in like a phone?
Well, it's lightning into anything like a USB-A or whatever.
But is it Okay, is the lightning port someplace stupid where you can't use the keyboard where it's plugged in?
No, it's right here on the.
Oh, on the back.
It's right there on the back.
Okay,
yeah.
So it's funny. You've said that you have this keyboard. I assumed you were talking about the one with the roll on the back, the one before that had two AA's.
No, this one is like wafer thin. I mean, how thin is this thing? Like probably a centimeter.
It doesn't look ergonomically sound.
Less than
a centimeter and a half on the back, probably
at its thickest point. Yeah, Windows cannot pull the battery life on this thing.
Of course not. Why would you use the standard USB way to do that? There's a proprietary way that won't work with any other OS.
So I just have to guess at the battery level, but otherwise it works. I got this Logitech G502X Lightspeed, which we talked about on the Patreon episode a little bit a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, they've changed
this thing.
It sounds like they've changed the Lightspeed tech so that it doesn't eat battery anymore, too.
Dude, it's crazy. Hold on. Let me pull up the onboard memory manager right now and tell you. I am at 75% right now. I charge it about 20 minutes a week.
Jesus.
And that's about it. Yes, so far. So from 100% at the end of the week, it'll be down to like 85%, maybe 82, something like that. And that's like pretty heavy daily use. And then 20, 30 minutes plugged in. So also having this mouse and the battery not being easily replaceable, meaning I want the battery longevity to be as good as possible, has prompted me to finally go out. I know we've talked about this before, but I need to refresh my memory. Like, hey, what are the best battery charging practices to extend the life of the battery?
Yeah, don't fill it all the way up. Don't run it all the way down.
The thing I settled on was kind of try to keep it between basically like 60 and 80%, 60 to 85, something like that.
Yeah.
And so that's why I've been charging it like 20 minutes a week, basically. Like, so I don't charge it all the way back to full. I'm not going to yuck your yums here, but it is really easy to replace the battery in those mice. Is it? Oh, yeah. Well, no, that's great. I mean, that makes me happy then, because the longer I can use this mouse, the better, because I love everything about it.
So the trick on that is that you have to, the screws are all hidden under the skates on the bottom. So you have to get a replacement set of skates.
Do you
then you just unscrew it and
do you ruin the skates getting them off?
They're not going to be as good as they are now. And also the skates wear out over time. Like even when you're using a soft pad, I replace the skates every couple of years at the outside.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
And if you're using a hard pad, they go faster.
Yeah.
So, but then the battery is just, you can order the batteries on Amazon and swap a replacement part in really easily.
Yeah. Yeah, I have everything from the button feel. They moved to mechanical optical switches on this new version of the.
Yeah, this is awesome.
The X is a refresh of the longstanding 502 that just came out like 6 months ago.
Which is like newest sensor and new switches and stuff.
Yeah, new switches, like a ton of buttons. These little rubberized grips on the side are great. Like it glides like a dream. The battery life is amazing. Like I just could not be happier. It's a very expensive mouse, but worth every penny. Speaking of the mousing surface, I've got a very old Funk pad here still as a mousing surface.
Oh, I found one of those when I was cleaning out the garage the other day.
It's still good. I used it for like 15 years. It still looks like it did when I got it.
It's funny. I switched to a soft pad during the PUBG days.
Huh.
Because I was trying to reduce all friction as much as possible.
Interesting. Maybe soft pads aren't what they used to be. Like my memory of soft mouse pads is basically from the 90s, you know, that kind of weird, like that felt on rubber sort of thing. I don't know what people are doing these days.
Yeah, it's like a super slippery neoprene on the Logitech one I have now.
Maybe I should look into new mousing surfaces.
You didn't get the Lightspeed charger pad, right?
No, I did not, because that was the Accord.
I was gonna say it comes with both. It comes with a hard and a soft pad, which is one of the reasons it's so freaking expensive.
Yeah, I mean that would have just been replacing the mouse cord with a pad cord, like a pad cord.
Well, yeah, like in my head, I think maybe I should put the pad off on a side table or something someplace and just put the mouse there when I walk away at the end of the night and let it charge overnight.
Yeah.
But also I don't care that much, it turns out.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, that kind of what I thought I would end up doing with the corded charging on the mouse, but instead it's like I said, it's like I basically go eat lunch on Saturday while it's plugged in and I come back and it's fine for the week. It's kind of amazing. Let's see here. All right. I've got the classic Cambridge Soundworks Power Cube speakers that we've talked about before.
Yeah.
Along the back, I have
just to be clear, those are 90s era or early 2000s era computer
2000.
speakers, analog computer speakers.
Yes, I was in the dorm. I was playing a lot of Quake 3 when I bought these.
Yeah, they are really good. That subwoofer was good for Quake.
Those things, yes. Good speakers are good speakers. They last.
Do you use speakers a lot, or are you mostly headphones these days?
I only use speakers for like just casually listening to music while I'm dinking around with the NAS or something like that. Like anything, especially any kind of production, recording, streaming stuff is headphones, but even playing games is headphones at this point. They're purely for just like listening to whatever.
I have to imagine the Pigs would be a little traumatized if you like fired up some Call of Duty and like had loud thumps.
Yes, for sure. So along the back, I've got my MacBook Pro USB-C charger. I've got an Anker wireless phone charging stand. I've got my Panic Playdate, which I use as a desk clock because it stays on all the time.
Do you see they put they rolled out their catalog this week?
Yes, I want to try those games.
Crank to buy.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I hadn't tried the store yet.
That's fucking great. Yeah.
Are you like filling up a meter?
You crank the meter to confirm the purchase.
They listened to our episode.
It's very good.
Let's see here. That's kind of, I've got like a vase with some bamboo growing out of it. We don't need to get into the desk decorations,
I need some green in here.
I highly recommend a plant on your desk if you can find space for it. And if you have light. Sorry.
Oh no, I was going to say, and then what's your monitor pitch these days?
So I've got two 27-inch 1440p monitors on a single 2-monitor arm.
So do you have them like centered in front of you, or do you have one centered and one off to the side?
Oh, I cannot. No offense to people who like it this way, but when the people who have 2 monitors and they sit kind of with their face
on
staring
the seam
directly at the seam in between them, like I just don't understand. But yeah, I do basically sort of main monitor, side monitor. Like I have the left monitor is just front on perpendicular to my face, to my sight line. And then I've got another one kind of cocked off to the right, 45 degrees ish for Discord and stuff like that.
I was gonna say, this is a little off topic, but do you do I used to do when I was side by side, I would do like communications monitor or maybe reference monitor and then like work monitor.
That's exactly what it is. The side monitor is for Discord, for my email client, for like if I'm like working in a terminal window and I've got some instructions for something up, then that goes on the side monitor, stuff like that. That's exactly it. Yeah. And then the last thing is my camera setup, which is not on the desk at all times. I've got an Elgato key light. Which comes
you take the light and the camera and everything off?
I have to. So we haven't gotten to what's under the desk, but I've got 2 IKEA Signum. You can tell we did the homework and looked up all the product names for all the stuff we use. I've got 2 IKEA cable racks. It's the Signum is the product name.
Man.
It's just
that's nice. That's better. They're like center pole with a basket that hangs on either side.
Yeah, like I guess the only downside, if you can call it that, is they screw in. Like they're pretty heavy, and you have to screw into the desk to mount them.
Screwing in is a good thing.
But they're mounted right on the back underhang of the desk, and so the desk mount clamp thing that came with the key light wouldn't fit because I actually tried bending a couple of those. You see the little like metal loops on the. I actually tried bending a couple of those down to try to make room for the mount for the key light, but it just wouldn't. I couldn't get it in there.
How deep is your desk? Is it only 24 inches?
No.
Or is it 30?
Actually, probably about 30, if I had to guess.
Okay.
Maybe more, actually. It's a pretty big desk. This desk is from the CRT days, so it's got depth to it. Anyway, so I bought the Elgato weighted stand. It's basically just a base replacement. You take the little desk clamp off, and it's just a big 10-pound metal disc instead. So I basically just have to set the camera on the desk when I'm using it and take it away when I'm not.
So it's funny because I've been looking at I have the Elgato key light stands too, and I've been thinking about doing. I wish I could do just a flat mount.
What does that mean?
Like could drill a hole and mount through the desk rather than use the edge clamps.
Sure. Yeah.
Because
I can see that.
Yeah, because like the monitor, the mic stands often will have like a thing where you drill a 1/4-inch hole or whatever, and
Yes. You know what else I have thought about doing? So my camera is on a friction arm.
Yeah.
Like, you know what those are? It's basically a jointed metal contraption where you
they're fantastic.
Tighten the joints and it'll kind of bend into whatever.
Is it like universal where you have one lever handles all the joints?
There's one release that kind of makes the whole thing go slack.
That's awesome.
It can be hard to like level the camera because as soon as you release the tension on the arm, everything just falls apart.
Well, do you not have a knobbly guy on the end of the arm, like a ball joint, a ball?
Yes.
Mount? Okay.
Yes. What I've thought about doing is actually just bolting that friction arm directly to the monitor stand, and maybe getting a little like ring light to go around the camera that could fit maybe on the camera mount, and just removing this key light entirely from the equation.
So the ring, you have a space. Yeah, that's interesting.
I don't know if that might be too heavy for these monitor arms, though. I'm not sure.
The monitor arm should be fine. The question is, can you get the friction mount for the Elgato thing around the tube for the monitor arm?
Yeah,
because my monitor tubes are too big for the Elgato friction mounts. Because I bought one of them thinking I could do that, and then it didn't work because I hadn't read the docs, it turns out.
Yeah. And anyway, I was kind of forced into this modular like mobile camera setup because I couldn't mount it. But now that I have it, I kind of actually prefer it because I just put the camera back in the corner of the room when I'm done with it, and then there isn't a camera staring at me 24/7.
Well, you just put the lens cap on the camera too.
Well, yeah, but it's just less clutter. It's just
that's true.
Now I've got a bunch of nice framed pictures up here, and now I can see them.
Man, less clutter above the monitor. That's an interesting idea. Anyway,
yes. I don't want to belabor my entire like under the desk setup because we'll be here all day. But
you've mounted a bunch of stuff up under the desk.
Yeah, so I've got a bunch of stuff mounted under the desk. Like I said, I've got those IKEA cable racks mounted in the back with like, dude, I've dozens of cables running through them. Could not even tell you how many cables are back there. Because like I said, there are no cables touching the floor. So every manner of HDMI and USB and audio cable and you name it, network cables, like it's just endless cables back there. But makes it very easy to vacuum under the desk.
And did you like get right length cables for that, or did you just kind of bundle up extras in that Signum?
I usually buy longer than I might need and then just coil stuff as needed.
Yeah.
I use a lot of zip ties or twist ties and stuff like that because you never know when you might need extra slack.
How often do you need extra slack, though, is the question I'm asking myself now.
Yeah, it depends. But also, it's not a big deal to just loop something a few times to deal with the extra length.
That's true.
Let's see. So I've got my router, network switch, and 2 power strips are also mounted to the back of the desk.
Ooh, you put the router under there too.
Yes. I like invisible technology. I like not seeing things.
I mean, I guess my router's in the garage, so it's a little different situation.
That's the dream, is to just put it in a different room. But let's see. I've got like 3 Raspberry Pis in that Signum area.
Okay. They're mounted on the underneath too?
Not mounted. Those are just sitting in the
they're just sitting in the trays.
Signum forms like kind of a basket sort of shape.
Yeah.
So there's Pis in there doing different stuff. There's an HDMI switcher in there. It's a lot of stuff. It is a lot of stuff mounted behind and in that cable rack under the desk.
Which, do you have an HDMI switcher that is like stripping HDCP, or is it just so you have like 5 cables for consoles so you can stream?
Yeah, it's just for it's for outputs. It's so I could output straight to these monitors before I go into the capture card.
Got it. Okay.
Stuff like that. I had my old one stripped HDCP, but those are harder to find these days.
Yeah, it turns out getting one that's a newer HDMI spec that strips HDCP is challenging.
Yeah, the consortium started cracking down on that stuff, from what I understand.
Weird.
Yeah.
Okay, so your setup is kind of similar to mine. I've got a couple of Stream Decks on the desktop, one for each PC.
Okay.
Because I have 2 PCs. This is where we should start. I have 2 PCs because there's one PC that does just the video stuff for me, which is kind of at this point a legacy of the PUBG days when I was playing a game that would take every amount of horsepower you had and like you were barely holding 70 frames a second. I just took an old PC and moved OBS over to that, and now I'm kind of, this is the life I live now. But it complicates things, right? So there's 2 audio interface. There's a mixer that takes in a bunch of audio that's not on my desk. It's on top of a set of some filing cabinets off to the side. So it means that like if I want to sit here and do something with my daughter or something, then we can have 3 microphones and it's no problem. But it also means that there's a lot more wires. So I've got the 2 Stream Decks. I've got 3 monitors. 2 are on one stand in a up down. So I have like the 1080p gaming monitor low and then a 4K kind of reference and email and everything else monitor up high. I use Fancy Zones a lot.
Oh, Fancy Zones is great. I've just started using it in the last couple weeks.
It's really good.
I don't know why. I've had Power Toys, the modern Power Toy. Remember old Power Toys?
Yeah.
Remember Windows 95 era Power Toys?
I remember what I felt like. So I felt like I was so special because I knew about Power Toys.
It straight up felt like Wizard of Oz pulling the curtain back and seeing the machinery type stuff. I don't know why I have neglected modern current Power Toys for so long, but there's some really good stuff in there. Fancy Zones is right at the top.
Yeah, Fancy Zones is the one that I like. Fancy Zones is the one that got me to install it before I switched to Windows 11.
So does Windows 11 have essentially that same functionality built in at the base level?
Yeah, like if you hover over the maximize button, you get a quad of 6 potential window configurations.
But can you define those though? Because that's the thing about for people who don't know Fancy Zones.
Yeah, Fancy Zones lets you like the default ones are pretty good. It's like half vertical, 50-50 vertical, 66 20 33 vertical, 33 33 33 vertical. And then there's like a 25, 50, 25 vertical split and a quad and a half and 2/4.
Yeah.
So like it's like it gets about 90% of the way there just with the defaults, I would say.
Yeah. Yeah. Just to be clear, Fancy Zones and what you're talking about are just ways to snap windows to existing kind of templates to existing layouts.
Frames inside your monitor resolution.
Yeah. The thing about Fancy Zones and Power Toys is you can create your own layouts and they're like surprisingly powerful. You can even do overlapping layouts.
Yeah, and I think you can even lock it may be a different tool that lets you do this, but you can lock specific things to, like you can say always keep Discord in this zone.
Yeah. That's pretty awesome. Anyway.
Anyway.
So do you have to crane your neck to look up at the 4K monitor?
No. So my desk is set up so that the top of the 1080p monitor is my eye line.
Okay.
Is like even with my eye line when I'm sitting up straight. And then I kind of rock back in the chair a little bit when I look at the top one for an extended period of time.
That's not so bad.
So when I originally set up the over under, I have it set so that you can rotate the whole thing, like just invert it.
Huh.
And I set up a shortcut that would let me basically flip the orientation and flip the 2 monitors in Windows. Okay. And then I used it twice and it was a huge pain in the ass because of the cables and I never did it again.
Sure.
Because I initially thought, oh, well, while I'm working, I'll do the 4K on the bottom. And when I'm not working, but then cameras, so the other thing is my cameras are between the 2 monitors. So that when I'm looking at things, it looks like when I'm looking at the monitors, it looks like I'm looking at the camera.
Oh, interesting.
So I get that over camera position rather than the being off to the side or whatever.
Sure.
So there's one camera. This is again the problem with having 2 computers. There's one camera for the streaming computer, and then there's one camera for when I'm on Zooms at work during the day, and they're both like 3 inches apart from each other, and it feels really stupid to have both. There's the Elgato. I have an Elgato charging stand, a MagSafe one with like a little keypad on the bottom so that I can charge like AirPods or Kindle or whatever on the bottom and smack my phone on the charging mount while I'm sitting here. I have an 18 by 24 inch cutting mat, which I keep down for when I'm using glue or cutting something or soldering or something like that, where I don't want to get stuff on the desk surface.
Sure. That's smart.
I also, when I put this desk together, I was like, right, this is just, I live now in a world where I can just replace the desk surface when it gets grody, for not too much money. I have I think I have the same Rode mic arm as you do.
Yes. PSA 1.
Yeah. PSA 1. I kind of don't like it because it goes up and then comes down.
Yeah. I've had similar issues with mine. It's not bad. It seems like the build quality may not be what it used to be.
I mean, mine's 15 years old probably at this point. And I've lubed it a couple of times and I have to tighten it up occasionally, but other than that, it's pretty fine.
Yeah, it gets the job done.
It would be nice to have something that just comes in below my sight line, I think is where I'm at with that. And then pops the mic up.
Yeah, that's kind of what I've got. I mean, this isn't going to play on an audio podcast, but I'll show you that's kind of how I've got my mod. So
did you upside down it?
Yes, not the mic arm. This is super not going.
Oh, so you just have it super straight. Yours is further away. The problem,
yes.
So you have yours far enough away that it can be straight. Mine is not that far away.
Okay, so I forgot to mention my mic arm. Yes, I mount the mic arm basically as far away as it possibly can be at the far corner of the desk.
Yeah. See, I could put mine on the far corner of the desk, but if I did that, I would have to run the XLR cable across every single data and power cable that comes into my desktop, and that seemed like a bad idea.
So I moved the audio interface close to the mic. So there you go. Short analog run, long digital run.
Yeah, that makes sense. Because the mixer is so big, I don't have that option really, is the downside of my setup. The monitors are all on Ergotron mounts, which are those big sturdy ones that like hospitals use.
Oh, wow.
They're really, really nice in that they don't wobble and stuff like that. Like when the desk moves, they move a little bit, but they're pretty sturdy and they just stay in place and there's no sag or anything like that ever.
That's good. These Echo Gear, or this Echo Gear one, is also relatively tight. Like monitors that bounce when you type or whatever would drive me completely insane.
Yeah, they don't. I can type as hard as I want. If I bump the table, they move.
Oh, these Ergotrons look pretty. They look like robot arms. They look like something that Boston Dynamics produced.
They're pretty beefy. So the thing is with the 4K and the 1080p on the same one. So the monitors are 4K and 1080p, and then there's also a 34-inch ultra wide on the mounted vertically, of course, on the other one. And in order to manage those weights, it had to be a pretty beefy arm. So
these are not cheap monitor arms.
I was very strategic when I was getting monitor arms and bought them when they do a sale every year around the end of the year.
Okay. This triple monitor arm, granted, it's just one of them ones on their site, $700.
So I got all of these for in the 150-ish range.
That's reasonable. That's much more in line with what most of the other brands are that I've seen.
Yeah, like if you watch, you can get them for the same price. Now the problem with them is that they're designed for like commercial and enterprise settings, and they're not. Yeah. They don't necessarily have the cable channels required for a consumer. Like I'm going to go and tell you, I'm going to pull all of the USB cables out of my monitors because I don't ever use the USB hubs that are built into the monitors, and it just clogs up the cable channels so that they're like, it's too tight.
Yeah. I don't even use the USB hubs in my monitors. What's the use case for those these days? Like I could maybe see previously you might have plugged your mouse and keyboard into them or something along those lines. But first of all, they're not even exposed enough to be convenient to use. And second of all, I don't know what I would put in there, even if they were. So
I used to plug my webcam into them, but then I got these USB-C like 3.1 webcams that like the monitor hub is not, you don't want to plug them into a hub basically. Yeah. The other thing is like when I was doing food stuff, I had an eye tracker plugged into one of them because that was useful and minimized cables. The other thing that I did have on the ultra wide for a long time that I really loved, and I probably should bring back was just a cheap USB LED light that was like a strip light that you glued up on the bottom edge of the monitor, and you could toggle it on and off, and it just pulled USB power, so you could like downlight the back of your desk, which was really convenient.
Seems cool. I've got an RGB kind of HomeKit, home automation addressable RGB strip on the back of my desk.
Ooh, fancy!
Pointed at the wall, so I get some kind of nice like backlighting under, not under the monitors, but against the wall behind everything.
That's fancy.
Yeah, it's nice.
Okay, so I have the cable management on those Ergotron arms, like I said, not the best. It doesn't let you hide stuff all the way. It just lets you get it kind of close. I have two mini key lights, the Elgato ones on stands clamped to the edge of the table just to front light me when I'm doing something that needs good lights. I use a drop control keyboard these days with a wrist rest. I've been working on switching to the Keyboardio Model 100, but it's hard to take the time to be bad at typing to learn how to use the new keyboard, it turns out.
It's kind of reminds me of getting used to Vim.
It's
like disrupting your typing workflow is pretty difficult.
Yeah, it turns out typing, like me not having to think about typing, is really important to the work that I do all the time.
Yeah.
I have a switch so I have a USB switch that's not a KVM. It's just like a dumb USB switch that just physically switches the connection for the keyboard and mouse between the two PCs for those rare moments when input director fails and I can't get the mouse and keyboard over to the second PC. There's a Google Nest. So that switch, I'm actually going to move to the bottom of the desk. So I'm going to tape it up underneath and have like a secret press button for when I need to, the rare times that I need to use it. Cause I use it like once a month, probably. I have a Google Nest Hub Mini. That's like it's essentially a digital photo frame that I can control music on the speaker in my office with.
Okay.
And then my Mister and like the consoles kind of come in and out on the back of the desk.
Sure.
So I have a 12-port power strip that Anker makes. I have a cheap Amazon Basics like 10-port USB 3.1 hub that also provides a fair amount of USB power for things like those Anker key lights are USB power now.
Oh,
so
wow.
The mini ones. So they just plug into that. I bought instead. I think I'm going to switch my cable trays with the ones you have because they look better. But I have these they're like baskets and they open only on one side. So it's like a wire. It's like a U shape basically. And you screw one end of the U into the wood and then the other end of the U is the bottom. And like it means that you can either get to them from the person side of the desk or the back side of the desk, but not both.
Oh, okay.
Which is a little challenging.
Yeah. These signums are completely open on both sides.
Yeah. That seems really nice.
Yeah.
And then
my desk has a back panel though, so I can't get to the closer open side. But theoretically, if your desk was open underneath, that would be very convenient.
Yeah, so my desk is open underneath, which means that you can see all the crimes when you're walking on the backside of the desk. Mm-hmm. But also, I just decided I don't care about that.
Yeah, you just got to get over that. I mean, the upside of having that vertical back panel on the desk is that's what the router and switch and power strips are mounted to. And I would not have that if I didn't have, but the downside is I can't get to the cable rack very conveniently at all.
I wondered where you got the space. Well, the nice thing about the sit stand is that when I want to work under there, I just raise it up enough that I can sit up straight.
Oh yeah.
And I don't have to like lay on my back and reach my arms up the whole time.
Yeah.
I also use a lot of short extension cords. So like those they're like 3-inch to 6-inch.
Yes. I also have a bundle of those in the drawer.
Yeah. And those are really good for not having a wall wart hanging off of the power strip that's under there because they tend to fall out in my experience.
Yeah. Yes. Also some of them are just big, some of them take up too much space and block one or both of the outlets next to them. Yeah.
And it's worth saying like, I think I screwed the power strip in, but I believe that the USB hub, the USB switcher is under there too, the box that does the actual switching. And then there's a couple other small things. I just double-sided tape. I double-sided foam taped them up under there and like no regrets.
Sounds good.
I can scrape it off with a putty knife if I need to.
Sure.
And then the two other things. Well, there's a headphone hook that has both my like production headphones and my gaming headphones. I have the vertebra cable channel thing, which is designed for sit stand desks. So it's like a series of joints and there's 4 cable channels in it. You put the cables in. I don't love that thing. So if people have better suggestions for how to manage the cables that need to go up and down when the desk goes up and down, I would love to hear them. It's fine, but it kind of flaps around and it isn't as easy moving as I was hoping, given that there's like 3 monitor cables and a couple of power cables and all the USB cables that go from the desktop to the other computer and stuff like that. And then the last thing is I got those K-blocks on the edges. So those let me hold the cable. So I have a bunch of things that do have cables, but I have them all running straight back. And the K-blocks on the edges let me anchor the backside of the desk run of the cable and like lock it in place. So there's no slack and there's no wiggle. And then the rest of it just goes in the tray up underneath. But then the K-blocks, if you don't know, are these it's like a plastic thing with they look like little mushrooms that are all close enough together that they'll hold you. Yeah. They bend and you can snap the cables in place and then, they go from there. So
CABLOX if people want to.
Yes. Yeah. I just got a variety pack and was kind of got hooked on them. So the things that are working really well are the lights in the monitor stand. The cameras are kind of always a pain in the ass because they always require adjustment. Like either I change how I sit in the chair, or the lights change, or it gets tilted or whatever. I don't know what causes that, but I think I need to build a custom solution for that.
So that's one of the nice things about having my camera mounted to that key light is they just always point in the same direction. So I got so the camera's on that friction arm, like I said, and once you get that thing level, you kind of don't ever want to touch it again, because getting it level again is kind of a nightmare.
Yeah.
But I bought a little quick release mount to go between the friction arm and the camera. So you just snap a little lever and the camera itself comes right off.
Oh, that's nice. So then it's not always on the arm when you're not using it.
Not that I leave it on there when I'm not using it. But if you ever, not that I rarely ever use this camera as a camera.
Yeah.
And not for streaming, but if you ever do need to take it off, it'll pop right off the mount, so you don't have to mess with your arm.
Oh, because you use a DSLR still.
Yeah, it's a mirrorless. Yeah,
mirrorless. Okay.
And the other nice thing is that quick release mount has levels in it, so
that's nice.
You can get your camera quite level without having to look at the output if you do need to level it.
Yeah, that's one of the things that's frustrating to me about my current setup is that when I'm leveling, I have to be behind the desk where I can't see the thing that's in the front of the desk. Right. So I have to get my daughter or my wife or somebody sitting here and be like, hey, look at the picture frames. Is it level? That's
exactly. So that was the thing I left out when I was saying before, when you loosen the friction arm, it just collapses. All the tension goes out of it and your expensive camera just fucking slams into the desk if you're not holding it up. So that's what I mean is you have to be holding that thing all the time while it's loosened.
Yeah.
So you're basically craning your arm over the monitor to try to hold the camera in place while you're trying to peer down at the monitor to see if you're level or not. So yeah, getting those levels was key.
Yeah. The other stuff is the Elgato cameras. So I use those face cams. It sounds like an Elgato shill podcast, but they don't pay us or anything, or they don't give us hardware. Those face cams are pretty good webcams, especially the 1080p ones for the money. It looks indistinguishable. They have good sensors and they work in all sorts of light conditions. And I've been quite happy with them, except once every month or every other month, you have to unplug and replug it. And that is kind of an annoyance.
So those are just straight USB?
They're straight USB. Yeah. Okay. Well, they're USB-C. They have to be 3.0 or 3. They have a specific USB requirement to get the full, because they send higher. They don't send compressed back to the computer. So it's not they're a little weird. Also, I think that I want to say they have Linux support problems, but I can't remember. I think they're host based. So
yeah, Jonathan on the Debian FOSSPod talked about modern webcams being a real pain to support in Linux. Actually,
I did not realize that there was a webcam problem in Linux these days. Yeah,
because things have gotten very closed and proprietary there. Anyway, which Stream Deck do you just have? Normal, the Stream Deck regular?
So I have an XL hooked up to the Stream PC, which has all the OBS and audio. I have buttons for all of the audio inputs, so I can turn them on and off. I got when they announced that one with the knobs. I bought the one with the knobs for the main PC, thinking it would be nice to have a way to control volumes. And then it turns out nobody's written the software to let me interface with my mixer yet. So either I have to set up because the mixer is hooked up to the Stream PC, I can't connect to it over USB, and it's a little fraught. As I'm saying this now, I'm thinking maybe I should switch the mixer to hook up to the main PC and then just pipe the signal from the mixer into the DAC on the Stream PC.
Over what?
Over an analog, it's an analog out from the mixer into the DAC on the main PC, which is what I do now.
That would work.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. The whole thing seems fraught.
Yeah.
More cables.
Yes, for sure. Speaking of more cables. So this is another place where length comes in on those cables.
Yeah.
That I'm running behind. So I've got a Stream Deck XL that I've just been sitting in a box for some time that I swear I'm going to start using soon.
It's surprisingly convenient.
Seems way too useful not to be. There's so many things. When I think about it, it's less OBS functions, although some of that would be nice, but it's more putting all my monitor inputs on Stream Deck buttons.
Yep.
So I can just switch between monitor inputs on that control surface.
You mean you want to control your monitor? Yeah, okay.
I keep thinking of and then forgetting other stuff I would put on a Stream Deck, but there's a ton of stuff. Like audio audio inputs and outputs, like active recording and output device in Windows and stuff like that.
I've been doing I have like Photoshop and Premiere and there are a bunch of like productivity shortcut implementations now that you hook in that will let you control like there's one for Resolve. Yeah. Sure. Anyway.
Okay. So trying to stick to chord 0 and use something like a Stream Deck can be challenging. So that's the other place where having extra long cords is nice, because in a lot of cases I'll kind of hook the top of a cord that I don't plug in all the time, like my camera, for example. The power for the camera and for the key light are separate.
So you just have a dangler?
So they kind of, but like because of the way things are, you can't really see the loop hanging down, but there's enough slack that and the Stream Deck is another one where I would probably just have it sitting at the back of the desk at all times with enough slack on that cord down through the cable rack that I can pull it forward right up to where I need to use it, and then just kind of pull it in and out and have the cable just sort of slide through the rack so that it kind of, still stays tidy and doesn't, pile up on the floor, but has enough slack to be kind of movable.
Well, that's what I use the K-blocks for, right?
Okay. Oh, do they actually like thread through there? Well, like can they move through there? I thought they were being like gripped tightly in between.
No, they move. So, okay. You can do it either way. So if you just put them straight through, then they'll just fall down and the stump will poke up and you can pull up the slack, right? Okay. But if you do like a little S through there, then it basically locks them in place. And the slack will, so like that's how I maintain the straight lines from the Stream Deck. The other nice thing about the Stream Deck XL, at least the one I have, is it has a USB-C port on the back, so you can use your own cable for it if you want. So if you want to get one that matches your desk color or something like that, you can do that. But yeah, I think I don't know if I'm looking at this. If I'm looking at what I've done here, I think the next thing for me, I'm probably going to get a USB hub and see how much stuff I can plug into a USB hub so that I only run one USB cable for the Stream PC.
Interesting. So that's the exact opposite direction that I feel I have gone in recent years, where I'm trying to run everything into its own discrete USB port.
Yeah. I mean, it's a trade-off, right? Because I feel like I definitely get less reliable. I get occasional weirdness when you have too much stuff plugged into one USB root port.
That's what I'm worried about.
But also, like the Stream PC only has mouse, keyboard, audio interface, and camera, I think, is all that's plugged into it. So
that's not that big a deal. As I've been motherboard shopping, number of USB ports has been a high priority.
Get a lot of ports. Well, also how they're wired in is important.
Yeah, that information is not always like extremely well documented, is it?
Nope, never.
Yeah, that's what
absolutely never.
Like,
yeah. So I would look at the K-blocks. I think you'll like them a lot, and they're not expensive. It's like $10 for a combo pack or something.
So like my from the outside, my desk looks incredibly tidy.
Yeah.
That wiring job in the back I'm not gonna say it's a huge mess of spaghetti, but it's the same thing you said last week about PCs, right? Like the more work you do to tidy things up and make them like compact and integrated and like out of the way, like the bigger a pain in the ass it's going to be next time you have to get in there and do anything with it. So like pulling this desk out and getting through these cables and like running something new through there is an absolute ordeal. Well, so when I'm done, everything is nice and out of the way and I can't see it, and it's great.
So this is the thing. This is the part that I like. So about a year ago, I rotated my desk. When I came back from Palm Desert, actually last summer, I rotated my desk because my desk had been up against the wall for 10 years. And I was like, I want to have a wall behind me in my shot, so I can have because I have a bunch of cool art and I have pictures and I have the game frame and all this stuff up there. I rotated the desk 90 degrees, so now it floats in the middle of the room and it's sticking out from the wall like a L, and it means that I can get to the back of it without having to lay on the ground or pull the desk out or anything like that.
Yep.
And the only downside is I have to walk by the back of the monitors and see all the arms and all that shit every time I come in. But other than that, it's great. Like, because it makes it really easy to fix stuff. And it means that when I want to change something, it's not easier to just let it be, to just half-ass it, right? It's easier to fix it and clean it up. And then I need to like put the cable back in whatever was holding it in place, or else I'll snag it on the way by and yank something loose and it'll be a disaster. So
for you to change something, all you have to do is walk around the desk.
Yeah, I lift the desk up a little bit and I walk around it and I lay down. I've got a good footrest so I can use that as a pillow when I'm down there.
Wow.
Yeah.
Whereas in my case, like, hey, you know how I've been running this laptop off of Wi-Fi for a while?
Yeah.
That's mostly because of what an absolute nightmare it would be to run more networking behind this desk.
Well, so the one place I do have a problem, a bad problem actually, is coming out of the vertebra. Also, you should get wired to that laptop.
I know. That's the thing. I would have to get back there and put another switch in, because I'm out of ports, and it's going to be so much work.
Well, so this is the place I wonder if I wonder if I could use a docking station on a desktop to solve some of these problems. Because like a docking station with the right USB-C cable should give me like actual USB root hubs at the docking station, and like let me plug in the cameras on the desk to the desk rather than have to run them all the way back to the PCs. Because like the place that I have a nightmare is there's to the right of the desk along the wall, there's all the cables that run back to the streaming PC, which is like 5 feet behind, 3 feet behind me. It's 5 feet from the end of the cable vertebra. And that is it's a nightmare. It's really dusty and gross. I can't get in there to clean it easily. Like probably what I should do is just build a box that like lives on top of that and has a little U on one end to, maybe it's box building time. I don't know. I don't know what the solve for that is. I wish there was something I could just buy, honestly, because I won't have to fool with it. But
I haven't looked at like USB-C docking stations and kind of all-in-one hubs in a while, like a couple of years. But even then, they were getting pretty damn elaborate. I have to imagine those are like pretty great at this point, right? In terms of power delivery, Ethernet, maybe even display, like let alone a bunch of USB ports. Like it seems like the kind of all-in-one thing that you plug everything into market has gotten pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, I would hope so. I don't know. I'd be curious what people think about that. That's a place where I don't know what the right answer is, really.
Yeah. Desks.
Yeah, desks. What's on our desks?
They're ever evolving. It turns out.
So the things that I learned that I didn't know about from watching cable management videos are that, especially if you do custom audio stuff, there are a bunch of places. Well, it's not too hard to make like custom XLR cables. If you want one with like a weird right angle or something like that, you can buy the ends, buy the raw cables. And if you're halfway decent at soldering, they're pretty easy to put together. We used to make a bunch of XLR cables in the Whiskey Media days but you can also get customs made by people who are actually good at it instead of talented dilettantes like we would probably be if we don't do that every day. The reusable zip ties are an absolute game changer. I can't overemphasize that enough. The other thing is I was thinking about putting a mouse mat on my desk, and with this Lightspeed pad, that's a little challenging because then there's a hump. And I think C Music on the Discord pointed out a few months ago that you can just buy a piece of cork that's the same thickness as the Lightspeed pad and place that, make a cutout for the Lightspeed pad in the cork, set the Lightspeed pad in the cork, and then put the mouse mat on top of that.
Oh, will it charge through a mouse mat?
Yeah, it charges through the mouse mat. It charges through it'll charge through a pad as long as it's not too thick.
Ooh, that's not a bad idea.
And then I get the benefit of them because like the nice thing about the mouse mat is it makes the keyboard a little quieter too.
Sure. I haven't even talked about keyboards.
You're thinking about going mechanical finally.
Probably. I mean, this thing's fine. It's working fine. I don't need a new keyboard, but it would be nice to type on something that felt better.
Yeah.
Here's a question for you and the audience.
Yeah.
Are there Bluetooth mechanical keyboards with a fingerprint sensor in them? I have not been able to find any.
I think I also been looking at fingerprint sensors lately for Windows Hello purposes.
Yes. Also, I don't want an external. I don't want a separate freestanding fingerprint sensor.
So I'm going to tell you what I'm doing with my fingerprint sensor when it gets here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to double stick tape it up under the desk.
I was about to say, that hit me as you said, I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do with it. I was like, oh, right. I mean,
you have a whole surface under there.
You'd have to crane you'd have to make sure you can reach it and rotate your hand properly, but that's probably fine.
You just so all of the stuff that's loose on my desk is stuck down with nanotape. So like the mouse pad, the Lightspeed charger, the wrist rests, the keyboard, all of that stuff is nanotaped to the surface. So, just put it so like you can use. So my thought is I'm going to use the mouse wrist rest as the reference point and just tape it up underneath where my finger goes when I put my thumb on the mouse pad and the mouse wrist rest in a specific spot, since that doesn't move, and then go from there. I'll let you know how that goes.
Ooh, that sounds good. I assume that like standalone fingerprint sensors are a dime a dozen these days.
They're surprisingly expensive still.
Huh.
It's like $50 for a good one.
Well, that's not terrible.
I mean, how many times can I type a 6-number passcode in for $50? It's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But also I miss having the thing. Like, I used to have a webcam that saw my face and was like, hey man, I know you. And then I'll unlock my computer for me. And that also was really nice. So I don't know. It's complicated.
I get it.
Is the answer.
Yeah.
I haven't ordered anything yet, but I have looked at it and thought about it a lot. So
actually, for I'm trying to how should I even put this? Like for how complex, I guess is the word, mechanical keyboards can be. Not complex, but like you're changing switches out. You might change things out on a keyboard. It's probably better not to have something like a biometric scanner built into the keyboard itself. Maybe it's actually better to keep that discreet.
I mean, it's really nice on the MacBooks.
Oh yeah, no, I use it all the time. Like that's exactly why I want it in Windows too.
The thing I'll say is the biometric hello stuff is not as useful in Windows as it is in OS 10 because it's not as tightly integrated across the board. The thing I want on the keyboard, my drop doesn't have it, but the Keychrons often will do a knob.
Interesting.
A good knob feels real good.
Huh? It's true. Yeah.
Who doesn't want a knob?
Need a good knob glide.
Exactly.
Need a good glide on your knob.
Yeah, you just want to roll your finger around the edge at the top and watch it spin.
Yep.
I miss my old what was the Mac knob that they used to sell? Griffin made a knob for the Macs. I can't remember what it was called.
What is that reading? Like, what kind of input is that taking?
It's just an analog. It's just an one axis analog. So you can do like the Griffin one. You could map to zoom. Like it had a click. And you could map like zoom or like I used to use it in Photoshop and non-linear editors to scroll the timeline, which was awesome.
Okay.
But you could click it and change the function. And it was pretty dope. But,
desks.
Griffin. What was the Griffin knob? This is going to bug me. It was called the Griffin PowerMate.
Aha.
Yeah.
I believe you can.
They still sell them. Yeah, they still sell them.
Oh, that's a nice looking knob.
It's like a cool aluminum knob. It was really, really awesome. I probably have it in the garage still, actually.
Microsoft has a Microsoft Surface dial that also looks quite stylish.
That only works on Surfaces, though, I believe.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
That's unfortunate.
Sorry, everyone else.
That's highly unfortunate.
I think that's...
Oh, what?
What?
Is this a thing?
What?
I'm only looking at the Amazon listing for this. We could just sit here and talk about disk doohickeys all day long. According to this photo, it looks like you can place the dial on the screen and it will have UI pop up around the dial or the knob.
Yep.
Oh, that's cool.
Yep.
That's cool.
I don't think it works on a whole lot of stuff, though.
I bet that is very tightly integrated with the Surface experience.
I think it works on Adobe is the demo I've always seen.
Okay.
But yeah.
That's neat. That's neat.
I think that's only for the big Surface, but I could be wrong. It might work on the little ones too.
I see.
Yeah. I'm a real sucker for that kind of weird future UI stuff.
Sure.
Adobe did a stylus plus ruler for iPads for a long time until the pencil came out. But the ruler would work. It was basically a flat thing that was little, and you put it on the screen, and it would make an offset line that was like a few pixels away from it. That then it would lock your drawing on the stylus too. Wow, it was really neat.
That's cool.
It made drawing perspective lines really easy. So yeah, I guess that's it for today.
Yeah,
that's it. This is. I don't know. Is this a topic? I feel like I learned something today.
Yeah, sure.
I'm envious of your desk, though, Brad.
Look, it doesn't come easy.
Just to be clear, I'm not so envious that I'm going to spend any effort at all making my desk have that level of I'm not disciplined enough to maintain your desk.
Discipline is literally the word I was about to use. It takes work for sure. It adds about like 10 minutes of setup before every stream. I'll say that.
Yeah, I like being able to walk in and hit a button and go. Like I can turn on the stream PC and I'm ready to go.
I get it. But working out of your house, like you need some separation, frankly. Like I need this to not look like a work desk all the time. Like sometimes when I'm not working, I just need this to look nice and tidy.
See, what if you had no separation? You just worked all the time. That's that's the American way.
No,
is that bad?
You got to push back against that. You got to invest in yourself.
Look, if you love your job, then it doesn't feel like a job, is what I always say. Anyway, this is a bad example. I'm a bad influence here. Don't listen to me. This is the part of the show where we thank our patrons. So
yeah, thank you, patrons. I was going to say, as we transition to saying thank you to our patrons.
Thank you, patrons.
There is the Desks and Pets channel on the Discord if anybody wants to. I mean, people post pictures of their desks in there on the regular, but
yeah,
if people want to extra talk about desk strategies and techniques of all kinds, that's a good place to do it.
I will definitely be lurking in there with the added bonus of occasionally seeing a dog or a cat.
Why do I not hang out in Desks and Pets more? It's like, you name that channel. I have to say it is like the best name for a Discord channel industry wide.
Because I didn't want to have a channel that was exclusive for people who didn't have pets, right?
Well, sure.
I'm petless right now.
I mean, yeah, that's fair. I mean, but to me, though, what are the two types of photos that everyone loves both posting and looking at other people's of?
Yeah.
It's desks and pets. I will always look at people's desks or pets.
People have good solutions, especially Norm the Bulldog gets posted fairly regularly, and his big flappy jowls are funny every time when he's shaking. So
Norm the Bulldog is an all-star. A lot
of pets right now, not a lot of desks. So yeah, maybe I'll clean up my desk and post a good picture.
Oh man. Sirdar gave his dog a straight up steak for his or her birthday.
Wow. Happy birthday.
Man, seriously.
For my birthday. Anyway, thank you, patrons. If you would like to support the Tech Pod, if you enjoy this show and you would like us to keep doing it, please consider joining the Patreon and joining the Discord and signing up for the Mastodon. We have all sorts of stuff now. You can go to patreon.com/techpod. Again, it's patreon.com/techpod. And for $5 a month, you get access to the Discord, the fabulous monthly patron exclusive episode. You can hang out in Desks and Pets as much as you want. You can post your pets and or your desks. Yes. Hello.
Oh my God. Ribs posted both a desk and two pets in the exact same post.
In the same picture?
Amazing.
That's nuts. Yeah, I'm just generally, I enjoyed this channel a lot. I like it when people post their dogs, cats, and other.
Yeah, it's great. Let me mention real quick, if we can just pivot back to the topic for 30 seconds.
Yeah, of course.
They have an ultra wide. Yeah. And like I was going to mention, because like I'm straight up using two monitors in the kind of layout or aspect that one ultra wide would cover. Right.
Yeah, you're a candidate for an ultra wide, I think.
So the thing I was going to ask about ultra wides, or the thing I like about this is that I can play a game on one monitor and not have to worry about the other monitor switching video modes or making like the Discord window obscure. How do people handle that on ultra wides? Like, do they just go borderless window in the middle of the screen, and do they still get the sides usable for other windows? Or
no, usually it fills the whole monitor.
So that's the thing that I kind of always want to be able to look at a Discord or something.
Well, my ultra wide is one of the early ultra wides, but it let you set it up also as two independent half res monitors.
Okay, so that's the thing I was wondering, is if you could do something like that. I mean, obviously you can play a game across the whole ultra wide if you want, but I could see all these situations where I would just want to do standard 16:9 for the game so I could see something else at the same time.
Well, and you're streaming a lot of times too, which complicates things, because like ultra wide streaming is bad. You shouldn't do that.
Yes. But there's even stuff like I was playing Marauders. Have you played Marauders with some friends the other night?
I've watched a bunch of Marauders being played.
Marauders is brutal.
Dude, I would love to play Marauders sometime. I am super
we should play it. Yeah. It's fun. One of my friends that I was playing with plays a lot of Tarkov though, and he described Marauders as like arcade style Tarkov.
That sounds perfect, because
streamlined Tarkov. Anyway, Marauders has no spectator mode. It's in early access. Maybe they're going to add that. But when you die and wipe and somebody else on your team is still in, you're just sitting at the menu doing nothing.
Well, you can like manage your inventory and stuff, right?
Well, yeah. But you can't see what they're doing. Like, it'd be nice to watch whoever's left in your squad finish out the round.
Yeah, that's a choice.
And so that was a situation where like my friend was streaming on Discord so we could see, because he tended what a surprise. The Tarkov player tended to be the last one standing.
Weird.
But he was streaming to Discord so we could see what he was doing.
Yeah,
in the game. So like it's useful for multiple reasons to have non-game real estate on your desk.
Yeah, I mean, I often even at work, like when either like somebody's helping me troubleshoot something on Unreal Ed or like we're replicating a bug, we'll often stream to Discord or something or Teams or whatever, so that you have multiple eyes on the problem. It's useful.
Yeah. Anyway, that's why I tend to stick with 2 discrete monitors instead of one big ultra wide.
I mean, you could just go with the vertical ultra wide. That's my solution to this problem. Get a tall boy. One of those
3x3 D&D alignment images was going around this week, except for monitor configuration on your desktop. I don't know that they had the vertical ultra wide on there. That's
chaotic evil. It's got to be.
I was going to say that's a level below chaotic evil. The vertical ultra wide is like the monitor from hell. Like that's way below the worst of the alignments.
So they had a hard. So yeah, I'm definitely chaotic evil on that alignment chart. Anyway,
thank you, patrons.
Thank you, patrons. We appreciate you. And we especially appreciate let's see, I closed the window. There we go, the tab. Our executive producer tier patrons, including Nick Johnston, Paddle Creek Games, makers of Fractured Veil, Andrew Slosky, Octothorpe, / Bunny Crimes, Just Wedge, Joel Krauska, Twinkle Twinkie, David Allen, and James Kamek. Thank you all so much. We do really appreciate everyone's support.
We do.
It makes the show possible. And we'll be back next week with another episode of the show. Hey,
we will.
I just want to shout out a couple people because the SVB thing is causing some trouble for folks in our circles.
Oh,
the wonderful folks over at Keyboardio are running a sale right now so they have a lot of inventory and not a ton of cash while their money is tied up in the SVB thing, and they're running a sale. So if you wanted to get a Keyboardio Model 100 for 20% off, you can right now by going to their site and putting, I think it's Keyboardio 20 is the code, maybe. I can't remember. But Jesse's posted about it on Mastodon and I think Twitter as well. They also have like keycaps and a bunch of, if you want an Atrius, which is their little portable keyboard, like we like them and want them to keep making it. Like as Jesse said, we're fine, but having more cash is always nice. So, and they can run out some inventory too, which is helpful.
Also, to be clear, not an ad.
Not an ad. We just like Jesse. We just like Jesse and Keyboardio and what they do and want them to keep being around. And yeah, that's it. So we'll see you all next week. Thanks for listening, everybody.